Warning, this content may be upsetting or disturbing to some audiences. Violence is the answer. 23 opinions of r/unpopular opinion that will hurt your feelings, maybe. It's messed up that the people who are most important and influential are actors, singers and celebrities and not the intelligent people who work day and night to try and move our society forward. Every time I see the news it's always about a celebrity or bad thing that's happening in the world. The people who do real good to society never get thanked or given the spotlight. And even if you try to talk about discoveries or things that could change the way we live for the better, people think you're a nerd and not interesting. Babies should be banned from the cinema. Babies under the age of 1, maybe even 2, should be outright banned from movie theaters. I mean, why would you even take them in the first place? I've just been to see a PG-13 film and a group walked in with 5 babies all ages between around 3 months to, maybe a year. There was an audible groan from the rest of the crowd pretty much as soon as they walked in through the door. Why do the staff even let them take them in? People who describe themselves as crazy, psycho, random, mental or different are usually very normal and boring. I'm crazy, I stay up late watching TV. I'm mental, I drank 5 cans of Red Bull. I'm a psycho, I'll leave evil comments on other people's social media. You're stunningly average and this attempt to seem different is cringeworthy. There is nothing wrong with being more casual and chilled out, embrace that, don't feel you need to shove your fake craziness down our throats. If you have no problem telling a smoker they're gross and it's bad for them, you should have no problem with someone telling you, you're fat and that it's gross and bad for you. Smoking and being fat are the 2 leading causes for deaths per year. Most people who are fat want to lose weight and most people who smoke wish they weren't addicted. Both people are in difficult positions where it's hard to change for the better and have difficulties doing so because of addiction and big lifestyle changes. The public finds it okay to trash smokers with commercials that make them feel gross about themselves and in some cases tell them to their face that they should stop because it's nasty. Maybe smokers don't have feelings too? Yet the public tiptoes around the issue of being fat because it could hurt people's feelings. Schools bring in healthier foods and companies put commercials on TV that say to exercise 30 minutes a day, but would never dare to push it further than that. If both sides are struggling, why is it okay to make smokers feel bad about themselves, but tiptoe around people who are overweight so they don't feel bad about themselves? My point is that it's not okay. It's unfair and should be one way or another. Either don't call people out either way or call them both out equally. If you're an adult and you closely follow celebrities or the royals, purchase gossip magazines and constantly like their pics on social media, it's acceptable to question your intelligence. The amount of grown adults discussing the size of Kim Kardashian's fridge on Twitter this week was downright pathetic. I get that we're all entitled to differing escapes from the real-life struggle, so loose observation is acceptable, I guess. But those of you who are well into adulthood and are glorifying celebs while latching onto their every doing, need to give your heads a shake. It's sad. Child-free apartment complexes should be a thing. Like how tons of apartment complexes are pet-free, there should be some that are child-free as well. I would pay extra to live in an apartment complex where I didn't have to listen to screaming children all hours of the day. I would like to say that I do not dislike kids in general. I wrote this after listening to 2 10-year-olds have a screaming contest just outside my patio door. Seriously, one of them said, "I bet I can scream louder than you," and they were off. Telling your kid that they have to go to get a bachelor's degree, forcing them to go to college, or encouraging them to get a degree in an oversaturated field, or a degree that's basically useless, or a degree they don't want to pursue, is life-altering abuse that affect the country. Putting a life of debt on a kid because he or she didn't know what they wanted, not telling kids they can learn a trade, causing the skills gap, creating a student loan bubble. Most people from first world countries are naive and don't know how bad this world can be. I often see people from first world countries talking about being tolerant to intolerant people or complaining about futile stuff. Most of those people wouldn't be able to live in countries where the struggle is real, where intolerant people would kill you on the spot, where you leave your home fearing to be killed on your way to work. Being naive isn't a bad trait, but those people shouldn't think the way it works there works anywhere else. Naming your child something hard to pronounce is one of the worst things you can do to them. What is up with people naming their kids something like Moise or Aoife? I get that it has cultural importance or sentimental value, but if you're in a country where that name would be hard to pronounce, then don't name them that or just move. I understand naming them something obscure if the child grows up somewhere where the name is fairly common or pronounceable, but it just ruins their early life and does nothing but make them less socially active if they always have to deal with it in a place where it's extremely uncommon. I speak from experience here, and I know that if I were to change my name, then my parents would be extremely unhappy, and it just seems kind of unfair to the child. Mass shootings are statistically irrelevant in the gun debate and are simply overly sensationalized and are used to push an agenda. No matter the outcome of any mass shooting or attempted shooting, the rhetoric is always the same, always pushing for some sort of regulation. Most of this is aimed at assault rifles, even though they account for less than 3% of all gun deaths according to the FBI. People on both sides just want to avoid that. The real issue is gang violence, since nobody cares for violence in marginalized communities. People need to stop classifying drugs and alcohol as separate things. For some reason, a lot of people seem to think that alcohol isn't a drug. All the time you hear people say drugs and alcohol as though they're separate things. Partially because of this, drinking alcohol is considered much more socially acceptable than it should be. You wouldn't go to a family gathering and just sit there smoking weed, would you? Then why is it considered completely okay to drink booze? For some reason, drinking alcohol is considered a totally normal thing that everybody does, whereas any other drugs are seen by society as unacceptable. In the meantime, kids grow up seeing people drinking all around them, which reinforces drinking booze as a completely acceptable and normal behavior. In reality, alcohol is an addictive drug and depressant, and it needs to be treated as such by society. I'm not saying that people should stop drinking entirely, just that it needs to be taken more seriously. Stop blasting your favorite music as if everyone likes it. First, a little backstory. I work as a waiter for a part-time job when I'm on break from college. Every shift I have to go to the back to clean silverware and roll them so we can put them back on tables. I usually listen to anything from alt-rock to heavy metal, and I use earbuds as I'm working on silverware. But my coworker brings in this massive Bluetooth speaker and blasts rap and pop music. It's so annoying that I can't even hear my own favorite music over it, no matter how much I want to damage my eardrums with the volume. Please, for God's sake, whether you're on the road blasting your trash in a residential neighborhood, or just in any public area, stop acting like your music taste is universal. If you listen to music, use earbuds or listen to it low on a earphone speaker. If you want to go to places where you share the same taste with other people, that's what clubs, concerts, raves, and friends, in a private area, are for. Social media is the worst thing to happen to society. An entire generation has now been raised on it. They're raised to believe that their self-image or worth is tied entirely to how many followers they have and how many likes they get. False information is spread like wildfire. Entirely too many people use it as a power tool to influence many. Those with a higher following are often seen as the right person during an argument. Yes, it allows us to connect with people from far away and can sometimes show us good things. But most often it is used negatively. People create fake profiles to attack people with different beliefs without suffering the consequences that they would face while saying it to the person face to face. Getting pregnant is not an accomplishment. Whenever someone announces that they are pregnant, everyone congratulates them and says, "That's amazing," or "I'm so excited for you," or something of the sort. And they make it a huge deal, like that person has just gotten a promotion at work or graduated college. They even throw the person a party. Relative to the huge list of things you can accomplish in life, getting pregnant is extremely easy. It requires no education, no skills, can be accomplished in less than a day. It can be accomplished by horrible people. It can even be accomplished by a child. I get that some people think it's an accomplishment, but it's really not. Raising well-behaved, productive children, now that is an accomplishment. It is unfair and unreasonable to expect your significant other to buy you a pricey engagement ring. I am 20 and female, and have been with my boyfriend for over 6 years now. We have talked about it many times, and I don't want him to go all out on an engagement ring, whenever that time comes. So long as it doesn't rust or turn my finger green, I'm cool with whatever he gives me. So many gals I know have judged guys for cheaping out on a ring for their partner, but that just seems so unreasonable to me. I get that this is a tradition, but it just seems unfair that the girl is the only one on the receiving end in this scenario. I'm not even sure if this is unpopular. If your religion would kill you for converting to another, it's probably a worse religion compared to others. If your religion demands you should be killed for sleeping with someone outside of marriage, or for committing adultery, it's probably worse compared to other religions. If to even be seen talking to a strange man without any romantic undertones could damage family honor and result in your death sentence, Perhaps it's fair to designate the faith to which you belong as a dangerous cult. Using astrology signs to justify your actions lets me know you blame an outside force for your bad personality. Title says it all. If you're a full-grown adult who follows astrology sign charts, the daily sign charts you read on a Twitter app aren't real. We don't need an explanation on that dictate your personality. You give me the right to think you're 1, an idiot, and 2, you're an a-hole, and 3, you're irresponsible and will not take the blame for things. If you laugh at people for a certain job, you are the biggest piece of butt ever. I see it so many times, people talking smack behind someone's back for being a garbage man, cashier, waiter, or whatever. Anyone who gets up out of bed to work a shitty job to pay for his bills, his family, his food, his children, his parents, his grandparents, his pet or whatever, should earn the highest amount of respect. They do what must be done for the ones they love. People who can work but decide not to because they don't want to are the worst. I'm from Netherlands and it's way too easy to get into welfare here. Whenever traditions favor women, most of them don't raise any arguments like getting treated out on dates or receiving expensive engagement rings. Traditions are often cited as outdated, oppressive and patriarchal. Rightly so with a lot of them. However, a lot of women are keen to hang on to the ones which favor them and will put up the most unconvincing biased arguments to do so, especially where money is involved. Just because it's in style doesn't mean it's your style. It's frustrating to see girls with huge tattooed brows or having them filled in every day with makeup when they naturally have thin and delicate ones that frame their face perfectly. If you can rock it, go ahead. But a lot of the time it doesn't fit your face and you should just figure out what looks good for you. This goes for everything, like fashion trends and body shape trends. Just like not everyone in the 2000s could look good in low-rise jeans, not everyone now can have a tiny waist and a huge butt. Trends are fun to follow, but if you really love yourself and look for what looks good on you, chances are you're gonna look more beautiful and fashion-forward than anyone, since trends seem to cycle anyway. Violence is the answer. Growing up throughout school, all I heard over and over was violence is never the answer. While I disagree with the school system on the point, I understand why that's the slogan. The problem is that after 12 years of school, and 12 years of that mantra, children are fully conditioned into that thinking when they reach adulthood. I think that's a problem, because more often than we'd like it to be, violence is the answer. I don't mean wanton violence, I don't mean curb stomping someone unprovoked, I mean deliberate, measured violence. It's hitting the bully back hard enough to put him on the ground and keep him down so you can walk away in peace. It's shooting the guy breaking into your home because he will hurt or kill you if you don't. This is the way humans have solved many of their issues throughout the ages, and whether we like it or not, it's worked. If you think negotiations, treaties, or peace summits work on their own, you are failing to realize that their strength is the threat of violence if they are broken. Some people don't know how to listen, some people don't think straight, and the only way to send a message is to give them a lasting make that reminds them their actions have consequences. It shouldn't be the first resort, it should be measured and deliberate, but violence is the answer. It is purely the fault of political correctness that YouTube sucks for creators, as many know. YouTube creators complain that they get demonetized all the time for stupid reasons. The mindset that media has to be perfectly appropriate, neutral and not set a bad example or whatever is stupid. It is purely the responsibility of an individual to differ between right and wrong. And guess what? Most humans have this capability. People shouldn't be held responsible for doing their own thing. What an individual does is their fault, the media didn't teach or influence them. People are over the top when it comes to how much they care about animals. The basis of this post stems from a recent tweet I saw. In the video, a few people walked up to a homeless man and his dog on the street. They took his dog from him because they thought that it was terrible that the dog didn't have a home. Neither did the homeless man. I don't understand how someone can be up in arms over a homeless dog and then not care about the homeless human right there. It makes no sense to me. I've seen a few Reddit posts where people legitimately question choosing between their animals and allergic family members. How? How can choosing a pet before a parent, child, etc. even be considered? I've also seen people that suggest that killing a canine unit police dog should carry the same punishment as killing a police officer. Really? Thanks for listening to Radio TTS. Hit the subscribe button and activate the notification bell for more videos. Click the right box for the Unpopular Opinions playlist. Let us know in the comments what you think about these opinions.